So, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'll note for the record that I'll serve as the acting chair for today's meeting. I now call to order the meeting of the directors of the New York State Urban Development Corporation, DBA Empire State Development, Tuesday, January 26, 2016. We welcome public comment on the item on today's agenda. Speakers representing themselves may speak for up to 2 minutes each, and those representing groups may speak for up to 4 minutes with one speaker per group. At this time, I'll ask the directors whether anyone has any potential conflict of interest with regard to the item on today's agenda. Okay, no conflicts. As the directors have received the written materials in advance of the meeting and they are free to ask questions at any time, I'll now ask Brendan Healy to present the one item on today's agenda regarding the Kingsbridge Armory project. Brendan.
Good afternoon. Thank you all. At ESD's December 2015 board meeting, the directors approved a $30 million construction loan to Knick Properties LP. As a refresher, that assistance to Knick will be used for a portion of the capital cost of Phase 1 renovations of the Kingsbridge Armory into the Kingsbridge National Ice Center. The project will entail redeveloping the 795,000 square foot armory into a 5,000-seat state-of-the-art ice arena surrounded by 8 additional NHL Olympic-size rinks, which will become a national training and destination facility for ice hockey, figure skating, and other ice sports. The reason why I am back here today is for affirmation of the directors' December 17th, 2015 findings and determinations, as well as affirmation of the general project plan. As required by Section 16.2 of the UDC Act, a public hearing on the GPP, General Project Plan, was held on Thursday, January 14th. A total of 16 persons spoke at that public hearing. The nature of the comments were primarily concerns about the project not representing the community. Now, whenever substantive negative comments come up at the public hearing, we do need to address those comments by obtaining affirmation from the ESD directors. So again, that's why we're here before you today. I will now summarize the comments that came up at the public hearing and ESD staff response to those comments. Please note that a more detailed response to the comments is found in the affirmation materials. Now, the first comment was that the project does not represent the needs of the community. ESD staff response includes that the project has the support of the local community board, Bronx Borough President Office, local business groups, and organizations. It's important to note that Knick, the developer, has entered into a community benefits agreement with a coalition of 27 local organizations, which means that the project will create many benefits for the surrounding Northwest Bronx neighborhood. The project will provide living wage jobs, targeted local hiring and contracting, dedicated community space available for the community, and local procurement and technical assistance for small local businesses. At least 51% of the permanent jobs created will be filled from the local community. Comments went on. Another comment was that the construction jobs created by the project should be union construction jobs. Now, in terms of the various aspects of the project, in essence, any type of entity will be allowed to bid on those aspects of the project. So both union and non-union will be allowed to bid on aspects of the project. As the developer gets closer to implementation of the project, as well as during the course of this substantive large-scale project, they will be in a position to determine which firms are going to perform the construction. And it's also worth noting that the community benefits agreement that the developer entered into has very strict local hiring requirements for both the permanent jobs as well as the construction elements that are taking place. Another comment was that the project is going to create gentrification. It's important to keep in mind that this building is currently vacant. It's been vacant since 1996. The building, it's a large building. It consists of approximately 795,000 square feet and is currently in its vacant state a very underutilized property. Now, again, as a result of the community benefits agreement, this project is going to create a number of positive economic benefits for the community, as I mentioned above, and also detailed a little more in the affirmation materials. The last comment to bring up is that there was a concern that there was not a Spanish translator in attendance at the public hearing. And ESD's staff response is that we typically do not have translators available at our public hearings. Now, going forward, one thing that we have done in terms of some outreach post the public hearing is that we have agreed to meet with the community to further discuss their concerns and also ensure that the developer is going to continue to be responsive to the community's concerns. So after review and consideration by ESD staff, we believe that the comments received at the public hearing have been adequately addressed. Again, we are here asking for affirmation of the December 17th, 2015 findings and determinations, as well as affirmation of the general project plan. And I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay. So before we get to, we know there are members of the public who would like to comment on this. Before we get to that, let's ask if there's any questions or comments from the directors.
Yeah, Howard, I have a couple of things.
Sure.
Has anyone estimated the number of full-time and part-time jobs that would be, not during the construction phase, but once it's up and running?
So once the building is operational, it's anticipated that there's going to be approximately 400 full-time equivalent jobs.
So this facility will operate year-round, not seasonal?
Correct, year-round. Again, 9 ice rinks total within this approximately 795,000 square foot facility, and it is going to be available pretty much daily.
It's multi.
What are they going to do when the ice rinks are not being used? Basketball courts or?
I mean, there is, again, 9 ice rinks, variety of ice sports, as well as they do have a programming partner that, especially that main 5,000 seat arena, that they are looking at other non-ice events, concerts, that type of element to help program.
Is there where do you create the demand for 9 ice rinks? Are all these people now skating somewhere else and they're going to come to the Bronx, or is this like a new new interest that all of a sudden?
Yeah. So the developer did do some elaborate research. They did hire HRNA advisors to help quantify, and they are expecting, conservatively speaking, approximately 2 million visitors a year. Part of that is that they have a strong belief that this community, New York City in particular, and even surrounding area, that it's very underserved when it comes to ice events. So a combination of their partners, they're looking at a variety of elements, school children, partnering up with public school system to get after-school programs, especially in the general vicinity of the site. Combination of adult leagues, all of these variety of ice, besides ice hockey, figure skating, learn to skate programs, other, and beyond that, additional ice events.
Brennan, when are we going to be expected to approve the other $108 million?
Let's see. So we're here. Last month we had taken $30 million for approval. That is anticipated. They're looking at beginning construction spring of this year. The $30 million construction loan is anticipated to take them through the first year of construction, even a little beyond the first year. So the anticipation is taking a step or two back. The $30 million is part of an overall $138 million New York State commitment to the project. So we would envision at a later date, and it's I would think that potentially later this year into next year, as as their as funding sources identified, but also as the project gets further along towards implementation.
This facility was previously an armory, I take it?
That's correct.
Do
Yep.
you know when it was built?
It's been vacant
Very long
since
time ago.
1996. Yeah.
Yes, 20 years it's been empty.
Yeah.
It was structurally sound as far as we know. And
Yep, and I mean it is I would fathom decades prior that it was built. It is on the state and national historic register of historic places, so it's obviously significant enough of a building.
It's a huge building.
Yeah, and I mean the developer is looking to take advantage of historic tax credits on both the state and national on the federal level as well.
Are we aware of any Spanish language comments that were not allowed to be made because of the lack of translator? Are they different? And if so, do they differ from the substance of the comments that were already made?
So in essence, at the public hearing, it was one individual that Spanish speaking, and I'd say sort of in the context of the public hearing, there was the ability to get the comments heard, and they more or less were consistent. In essence, another individual that was attending was able to act as a translator to get basically to get that individual's point across.
Okay, one more question. Is it fair to say that the substance of the comments that we received at the public hearing in terms of concern about the community not being represented, that those same comments or similar comments were raised before the community board?
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from directors? Okay, let's open it up. I don't know who's going to orchestrate this, but we've got a number of public comments. Is that correct? Anyone from the public? Let's get started, Marianne, with the public process.
Okay. There are two people currently here. We're going to start with Desiree, who's one of the signatories on the CBA. And then we'll follow up with Rachel, who's from Senator Gustavo Rivera's office. Okay. Take my seat.
Okay. Good afternoon, all of you. I'm very happy to be here today. Again, I'm Desiree Pilgrim Hunter. I'm a board member currently of the Kingsbridge Armory Signatory Group, which is 26 member organizations that signed the Community Benefits Agreement. I was one of the CBA negotiators. I was also one of the co-founders of the Kingsbridge Armory Redevelopment Alliance, of a lot of community groups that wanted to see this development happen. And I'm also a past president of the Northwest Bronx Community and Clergy Coalition. With that said, I've lived in the community for 34 years. I have served for the past 8.5 years doing community service with various elected officials and organizations locally, citywide, and nationally on community benefits agreements to protect communities across the country and ours in particular, to make sure to mitigate unintended and known consequences of development, especially with the Kingsbridge Armory. I am here today to let you know that the community wants this project, that we've been working on this for 19 years, to get responsible development, that the developers that we've worked with, Koenig, these gentlemen have been put through the ringer by us, the community. We engaged in a long, lengthy negotiations, and we were able to actually get the most substantive, what they call now the platinum standard of community benefits agreements across the country. So these guys have committed to and will be overseen. The board that I'm on right now is currently creating the bylaws for the organization that's going to oversee on the community end the monitoring of that CBA, the management of the community space, the 50,000 square feet for the community, overseeing. We established because there are businesses across the street that are frightened about the fact of being displaced, we negotiated a fund for them to be able to get grants to spruce up their properties so that they look complementary to the finished development. We have Brendan spoke about some of the elements of the CBA. One of the things is that there's going to be a sports foundation that one of the things the community did was tied it to the Title I program, which is the school lunch program. And the reason for that was to make sure that we didn't have children coming from more affluent areas to take advantage of the programs that both Sarah and Mark Messier are going to be creating in that space for the local children. There is also an aspect of the greening of the project because there are environmental issues. We've got one of the highest instances of asthma. So that was also factored into the community benefits agreement. The community has been involved in every step of this process. And when I was contacted, I was completely shocked about what had happened yesterday or when this hearing happened. The community wants the project. There are going to be challenges, and we know that. But this is why we are having this organization created to oversee and watch every step. There are compliance mechanisms within the CBA that the developers have to meet, and there are actually consequences, serious consequences, built in if they don't meet these things. I would say that one of the key aspects of this project is that the community is going to get revenue sharing. Never happened, any CBA, never. And that means that there are going to be projects that are going to be in the building that the community will get access to, and because of the income challenges, this is why the revenue sharing was negotiated, so that if there are events in that building that normally the community folks couldn't afford, we've got this fund that will give them access to tickets to all these things and to usage of the space. We've got a dedication of one of the rinks will be dedicated for community use only. I welcome any questions. It's very hard to shrink this down, this 230 pages of a CBA down simply, but the bottom line is the community wants the project. We are in lockstep with the developer. We created a process where we weren't adversarial, that we partnered with them so that we could get the best possible agreement, but also that going forward, knowing and anticipating that there were going to be additional issues coming up as this project goes along, that we could be able to sit down with them in a responsible manner and say, okay, how do we work this out? This community is really looking forward to this being an economic engine to spur with the jobs, with the educational aspects. We're working with the local colleges with this project. We've taken in every aspect of the community to participate in this. These folks want to remain in the community and be a part of the community, which is not the usual with most developments. And I would end this by saying that one of the issues we know coming forward, I'm an asthmatic, there are environmental concerns with the increased traffic and everything else, and there is a detailed green action plan that has to be created by the developer to detail how they're going to mitigate that, not only within the building but surrounding area. In terms of transportation impact, the developer has come up with, and we have come up with suggestions that they've accepted for including more bike racks so that people can ride bicycles to the site, that incentive programs to get folks to use the public transportation, since we've got all the different transportation arteries all around the Armory. The issue of gentrification, while it is definitely a concern because of the area we're in, and is not Koenig's responsibility. We cannot, and it sounds disingenuous, but it's not. Commercial and housing landlords are refusing to renew leases, bless you, and instituting unfair rent increases in anticipation of the redevelopment of the Armory. That's not Koenig's fault. That's these folks being predatory and taking advantage. I know of businesses there that who are not getting their leases renewed. So that requires organizing away from a table when it comes to this table and to any tables other than, when it comes to funding. So at the end of the day, that's a serious issue. That's not an issue for here. We're aware of it. I know groups that are going to be organizing around that, but this project is absolutely essential to the community. We have people who would rather go to war and get killed than work in a retail job because it doesn't pay them anything. They can't support themselves. So with that said, I thank you for allowing me to come and address you all because this project is very important to me as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you for participating. We appreciate. Thank you for your comments and for participating. We appreciate that very much. I think we have some other speakers as well.
Hello, my name is Rachel Ferrari. I'm the Director of Community Affairs for State Senator Gustavo Rivera. I'm here to testify on his behalf, and I might repeat myself because I want to read the written statement. I have business cards for all of you. All right. Good afternoon, members of the Public Authorities Control Board. Thank you for holding this meeting today to discuss the Kingsbridge Armory development and the Kingsbridge National Ice Center's application for a capital loan from the Empire State Development Corporation. My name is Rachel Ferrari, and I'm the Director of Community Affairs for State Senator Gustavo Rivera. State Senator Rivera represents the West Bronx, including the Kingsbridge Heights neighborhood where the Armory is located. I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to make a statement on the Senator's behalf in regards to the public hearing held by the Empire State Development Corporation on Thursday, January 14th, and in support of considering Koenig's loan application at the upcoming PACB hearing. Following is a statement from the Senator. In the 5 years I have represented the 33rd Senate District, I have been actively invested in developing the Kingsbridge Armory in a way that benefits the surrounding neighborhood and the Bronx overall. I participated in many meetings and discussions to ensure that the Armory was developed with the community's needs and wishes in mind. This collaboration among developers, community leaders, and stakeholders produced an unprecedented and comprehensive community benefits agreement for this community. As many of us know, economic development in a neighborhood at times brings challenges to the existing community. Striking the right balance between fostering progress and preserving a community is at times difficult. It is my understanding that during a recent public hearing held by the ESD regarding the Koenig application for a capital loan, a number of community members expressed concerns over how the development of the Kingsbridge Armory was affecting and will affect the surrounding neighborhood. As we review the comments made at the public hearing by members of the community, it is easy to recognize that the concerns that were expressed were unrelated and would not be affected by the approval of the capital loan. Furthermore, many of the concerns, which have to do with rent increases, cannot be adequately addressed if the developers lose the lease and the community loses its CBA. Community members will tell you, as they have told me, that they vehemently support the approval of this loan so that Koenig is able to maintain its lease with the City of New York and continue the project without delay. The developers who have remained committed to cooperating with the community to address these concerns deserve timely consideration in order to move forward. Therefore, I respectfully urge each of you to consider and approve the Kingsbridge National Ice Center's developer's application for a bridge loan for the Empire State Development Corporation at the Public Authorities Control Board meeting in February. Regards from the Senator. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your participation. Do we have any other comments from the public on the Kingsbridge Armory project?
The Assemblymember Victor Pichardo will submit his testimony written at a later point because his Chief of Staff is running late. Apologies.
There are no other persons.
Okay, thank you. I'll entertain a motion for approval.
Move. Second.
Okay, Rob, is there a second?
Second. Boys, let's go.
Third.
All right. Second, great. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? None opposed. Thank you. The motion carries. There is no other business today, so can I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So move.
Move.
Thank you, everyone, for participating. We are adjourned.
Thank you.